Good morning, everyone. It's Tuesday, April 7th, 2009. We do have some northwest swell in the water today along the Southern California coast coming down from the Aleutians from something that formed here a few days ago. We don't have a lot of good news, though, in the short term, but some good news on the long range. I wanted to show you everything that's happening on the models to bring some wind swell over the next few days. Going to see some weather out of that as well. We're going to start seeing some southern hemisphere swell, though, start to come in this week. Looks like we're going to see a lot better swell, though, come up by the 13th from the southern hemisphere. So I wanted to show you everything that's going on. This is what's happening on the models right now. So to start out looking at the weather models, we can see that that low pressure system that's going to be bringing us some stormy weather soon is sitting offshore from Southern California. This is not looking all that pretty. It's sitting right about 400 miles or so off the coast right now. Not a lot of clouds in front of it. The relative vorticity model here is showing that there's quite a bit of potent vorticity to this. Be stirring up some wind swell fetch. Of course, that'll be bringing some rain here shortly. Expect to be moving through the area shortly. You can see it be swiping right over the Southern California area over the next day or so. Get a little bit of break in weather, possibly around Thursday, but still a lot of troughing, still digging down south over the area. And as we look out a little bit farther in time, we can see that there's another low that will be moving down toward our area toward the end of the week. This is looking at around the 9th. So we're looking toward the Thursday time frame into Friday, this next system moving down, probably into Thursday night into Friday, which could then bring another possibility of rain. This one, though, is looking to dive very far to the south. And as it does, and it swipes through Southern California, it would be bringing a lot of southerly winds to the area by the end of the week. And, of course, a lot of rain with that. When it gets this far south below Southern California, it can really tap into some subtropical moisture. And, of course, we get those nasty south winds out of it as well. Take a look now at the wave models. We can see here in the northern hemisphere a little bit of something showing up on the long range. This is the 72-hour model. Really not a lot to show you in the short term besides just what's happening on the weather model to bring some of that nasty wind swell toward our area. This Aleutian fetch, though, if everything does work out over the next few days, this is how things would progress. Start moving across the Gulf of Alaska, start growing a little bit in size, then kind of breaking apart, dissipating, get caught in kind of a clockwise spin from high pressure that's been sitting out in the Pacific, and then start diving down our coast. If this does happen, we get this southward progression out of it, we're looking at some fairly heavy wind swell that could be coming in by the 14th. That'd be bad news. We have some good news coming up from the southern hemisphere for the 13th. I wanted to show you what's going on with that as well. First, I'd like to step back in time, show you what was going on a few days ago. This is a look at the models on the 30th, showing that Chilean storm. We saw some of that on Sunday. But the New Zealand fetch down here on the left-hand side of the models, that's what we'll be seeing around Thursday. Just a little bit of swell coming in around Thursday time frame. But then something else was forming down in the southern hemisphere on the long-range models. This is a look at the models on the 3rd. There was a fetch down in the southern ocean that was starting to form, and the models were showing that this one would grow, it would start moving. This is a 36-hour model. And the nice thing about this is that the northward progression it was showing, and also getting somewhat of a reform. So it's all in question back 72 hours ago on this model and 96 hours ago on this. Is that actually going to move northward? Is it going to grow? Well, it did. And now if we look at this morning's models, we can see that this followed exactly the pattern that models were predicting, and it did start throwing some swell toward our way. This is about 4,500 nautical miles to the south of Southern California. We should see swell out of this on the 13th. Looking to be fairly decent size too, chest, maybe even head high on the 13th and into the 14th as well. Also, there's a little bit of reform. This is the 12-hour model out. Not a whole lot. Smaller fetch to be formed, 18, 20-foot seas or so. That's not a lot for that area. But still looks like we could have some lingering swell into the 15th and the 16th, but not nearly as sizable what we'll see around the 13th and 14th. But we could be seeing wind swell come down for the 14th and maybe possibly trash conditions. And it looks like we're going to see some troughing as well move down. That'd be from that Aleutian change system that was out on the 72-plus hour models. So we have to see how that works out. But it does look like we'll definitely see some cleaner surf on the 13th. Swell's definitely on the way from a system that formed 4,500 nautical miles away. It gives us that luxury of time to actually know that it's going to be about a week away when it does actually come. So 13th, definitely seeing some southern hemisphere swell. My call right now is for chest, possibly head high sets at the stand outside of this one, angled for about 180, 190 degrees. And of course, if you want the ETAs on all the swell, the winds, weather, tide, and more, you can always check out my SoCal Surf Report at wetsand.com.